Hi everyone, this is Monica from the Hobbit Groups. I thought we'd get started with part two. We're calling this one Splash It. Remember in part one we talked about various ways to measure stuff. Spoons, of course, and hands, and we're going to add a couple more. And all of these are similar, but one is definitely not like the other three, and we'll talk about why that is at the end. But let's talk just a little bit about spoons again. I focused on spoons because we use them a lot, but also because that's the way a lot of measurements are done, especially for liquids like oils, which is what we have here. In this little part of the experiment, I used extra virgin olive oil. And you can see that I have a tablespoon here. But it's kind of not exactly a tablespoon. If you look really, really close, you can see that the level of the oil is just under the rim. And that's going to matter because just under the rim means, again, we're not quite crediting ourselves with as much as we're eating. So if we're trying to use this as part of our minimum fat, we're shorting ourselves. And this is that same spoon on the left, which you can see weighed out to 11 grams. Now what's on the right is a little more interesting. It's basically this same spoon, but instead of being just under the rim, it's just over the rim. It wasn't enough to drip off or anything, but it's just sort of mounted up using a little bit of hope to try to get as much there as possible. The difference is 6 grams. Now you can see that that doesn't look like a lot, and 6 grams doesn't seem like a lot, but what you see here, the difference between these two is 49 calories. Because remember with fats, that's 9 calories per nutritional gram. Carbs and protein are 4 calories per. Fat is 9, so 2.25 calories times more calories for each nutritional gram. So about 9 calories every single gram we're off. That's a lot. And this is for olive oil. It's going to be similar with most of the oils though. Bacon grease, the difference here, if this were bacon grease, would be 47 calories. If this were coconut oil, it would be about 52 calories. So right in that same range. If you make this mistake once a day, it's going to be kind of painful, but imagine if you're making this while you're cooking. And you can see in this one, when with these two dishes really super close and you know that there's a difference, you can see the difference. But if you were just going to eyeball this and pour it into a pan, do you think you'd notice the difference in this? No, you won't. Spoiler alert, no, you will not notice the difference. This is why we say you have to measure everything. We called it Splasha because we do. We just toss a little splash of oil into the pan to saute our vegetables, just a little splash. And the other thing that I am totally guilty of is just a little splash of cream for coffee or tea. Yeah, we do this a lot. I think most of us do. It's just a splash, nothing big. Except it kind of is. Now what I've used here is a jigger. Believe it or not, they're for more than just alcohol. And I put just a little bit below the rim, you can see kind of like 3/4 on the left, right up to the rim on the right. The difference here is 7 grams. The difference in calories, remember with heavy whipping cream, 1 tablespoon, which is what's over on the left, is about 50 calories. So on the right's a tablespoon and a half. Yeah, the difference in these two is 25 calories. If you only have 1 cup a day, maybe not a big deal. You start having 3, 4, 5 cups a day, that 25 calories really adds up. And that's just with a half a tablespoon difference. Let's take a look at when we actually do a little side by side. If this were going straight into a cup, there is zero chance that you're going to recognize that this is a 25 calorie difference, folks. You're just not going to notice. Let's do it with an actual cup. Abby, the cup on the left, in all of her magnificent glory. When I poured to what normally looks like a cup of coffee, to me, and yes, my cup is dirty because I'd already been drinking out of it, it's coffee. You can see that I got 13 ounces of coffee in my cup. I decided I'm just going to throw a splash of what I like to use for cream, which is Fairlife 2% milk in there. And I was aiming for about 1.5 ounces or so, which would be 15 calories. What I actually got was 3.5 ounces. So I was aiming for 10 to 15 calories. I got 35, and that's only using 2% milk, which is a 25 calorie difference. If you were aiming for 1 ounce of heavy cream and you actually got 3.5 ounces of heavy cream, you just made a 250 calorie mistake. Now let's be real, we can't control what the barista puts in as a splash when we go get a cup of coffee in a coffee shop. But what we can control is what we ask them to use. Are you willing to accept the calorie hit? Because remember, calories matter even on a ketogenic diet. Are you willing to accept the calorie hit from the cream, or would you rather accept a small carb hit by using milk? That's a question only you and your goals can answer, but it is something to think about very seriously when we're doing this. It's too easy for us to do this at home and make this kind of mistake, but it's very easy to correct because at home we can measure this kind of stuff. If you control what you can, then the stuff that you can't has a lesser impact. So again, here's that slide. Three of these are not like the other because 3 of these are analog measuring devices. The 3 on the left are only as good as the numbers in your eyes can be. The scale will give you the most accurate of the 4. So again, control what you can, when you can, and the issues that happen out there that you can't control are going to be less problematic. Well, thanks for joining us for Measure It. The next one we're going to do is some 1-bowl cooking using that very same scale, and we'll show you how easy that is. Thanks. See you out on the groups. Bye-bye.